We're almost there. To the end? Or perhaps, upon finishing each book, it's not the ending, it's rather time for a new beginning. Which is why so many people love to just read books all the time, right? Because it does take us away to another space and place beyond imagination at times. Dr. Dolittle, what fun I'm having, and I'm so grateful to be sharing in this journey with a dear friend from my life, beyond from my past or from my childhood. This is truly a special moment, and I do thank heaven for having Lisa share in these silly, fun Dr. Dolittle moments with me. I haven't said good morning to the farm yet this morning. They're still all in bed, so let's see if they let us jump into chapters 16, 17, and perhaps 18. The 16th chapter, Tutu the Listener. Having thanked the sharks again for their kindness, the doctor and his pets set off once more on their journey home in the swift ship with the 3 red sails. As they moved out into the open sea, the animals all went downstairs to see what their new boat was like inside, while the doctor leant on the rail at the back of the ship with a pipe in his mouth, watching the Canary Islands fade away in the blue dusk of the evening. While he was standing there, wondering how the monkeys were getting on and what his garden would look like when he got back to Puddleby, Dab came tumbling up the stairs, all smiles and full of news. "Doctor," she cried, this ship of the pirates is simply beautiful, absolutely. The beds downstairs are made of primrose silk, with hundreds of big pillows and cushions. There are thick, soft carpets on the floors. The dishes are made of silver, and there are all sorts of good things to eat and drink, special things. The larder, well, it's just like a shop. That's all. You never saw anything like it in your life. Just think, they kept 5 different kinds of sardines. Those men! Come and look. Oh, and we found a little room down there with the door locked, and we are all crazy to get in and see what's inside. Jip says it must be where the pirates kept their treasure, but we can't open the door. Come down and see if you can let us in." So the doctor went downstairs, and he saw that it was indeed a beautiful ship. He found the animals gathered round a little door, all talking at once, trying to guess what was inside. The doctor turned the handle, but it wouldn't open. Then they all started to hunt for the key. They looked under the mat. They looked under all the carpets. They looked in all the cupboards and drawers and lockers, in the big chests in the ship's dining room. They looked everywhere. While they were doing this, they discovered a lot of new and wonderful things that the pirates must have stolen from other ships. Cashmere shawls as thin as a cobweb, embroidered with flowers of gold. Jars of fine tobacco from Jamaica, carved ivory boxes full of Russian tea, an old violin with a string broken, and a picture on the back. A set of big chessmen carved out of coral and amber, a walking stick that had a sword inside it when you pulled the handle, 6 wine glasses with turquoise and silver round the rims, and a lovely great sugar bowl made of mother o' pearl. But nowhere in the whole boat could they find a key to fit that lock. So they all came back to the door, and Jip peered through the keyhole. But something had been stood against the wall on the inside, and he could see nothing. While they were standing around, wondering what they should do, the owl Tutu suddenly said, "Shh, listen! I do believe there's someone in there." They all kept still a moment. Then the doctor said, "You must be mistaken, Tutu. I don't hear anything." "Oh, I'm sure of it," said the owl. "Shh, there it is again. Don't you hear that?" "No, I do not," said the doctor. "What kind of a sound is it?" "I hear the noise of someone putting his hand in his pocket," said the owl. "But that makes hardly any sound at all," said the doctor. "You couldn't hear that out here." "Pardon me, but I can," said Tutu. "I tell you, there is someone on the other side of that door putting his hand in his pocket. Almost everything makes some noise if your ears are only sharp enough to catch it. Bats can hear a mole walking in his tunnel under the earth, and they think they're good hearers. But we owls can tell you, using only one ear, the color of a kitten from the way it winks in the dark." "Well, well," said the doctor, "you surprise me. That's very interesting. Listen again and tell me what he's doing now." "I'm not sure yet," said Tutu, "if it's a man at all. Maybe it's a woman. Lift me up and let me listen at the keyhole, and I'll tell you soon." So the doctor lifted the owl up and held him close to the lock of the door. After a moment, Tutu said, "Now he's rubbing his face with his left hand. It is a small hand and a small face. It might be a woman. No, now he pushes his hair back off his forehead. It's a man, all right. Women sometimes do that, said the doctor. True, said the owl, but when they do, their long hair makes quite a different sound. Shh! Make that fidgety pig keep still. Now all hold your breath a moment so I can listen well. This is very difficult, what I'm doing now, and the pesky door is so thick. Shh! Everybody quiet still. Shut your eyes and don't breathe. Tutu leaned down and listened again, very hard and long. At last, he looked up into the doctor's face and said, "The man in there is unhappy. He weeps. He is taking care not to blubber or sniffle, lest we should find out that he is crying, but I heard quite distinctly the sound of a tear falling on his sleeve." "How do you know it wasn't a drop of water falling off the ceiling on him?" asked Gub Gub. "Psh, such ignorance," sniffed Tutu. "A drop of water falling off the ceiling would have made 10 times as much noise." "Well," said the doctor, "if the poor fellow's unhappy, we've got to get in and see what's the matter with him. Find me an axe and I'll chop the door down." The 17th chapter. The Ocean Gossips. Right away an axe was found, and the doctor soon chopped a hole in the door big enough to clamber through. At first he could see nothing at all. It was so dark inside, so he struck a match. The room was quite small, no window, the ceiling low. For furniture, there was only one little stool. All round the room, big barrels stood against the walls, fastened at the bottom so they wouldn't tumble with the rolling of the ship, and above the barrels, pewter jugs of all sizes hung from wooden pegs. There was a strong, winey smell, and in the middle of the floor sat a little boy about 8 years old, crying bitterly. "I declare it is the pirate's rum room," said Jip in a whisper. "Yes, very rum," said Gub Gub. "The smell makes me giddy." The little boy seemed rather frightened to find a man standing there before him and all those animals staring in through the hole in the broken door. But as soon as he saw John Dolittle's face by the light of the match, he stopped crying and got up. "You aren't one of the pirates, are you?" he asked. And when the doctor threw back his head and laughed long and loud, the little boy smiled too and came and took his hand. "You laugh like a friend," he said, "not like a pirate. Could you tell me where my uncle is?" "I'm afraid I can't," said the doctor. "When did you see him last?" "It was the day before yesterday," said the boy. "My uncle and I were out fishing in our little boat when the pirates came and caught us. They sunk our fishing boat and brought us both onto this ship. They told my uncle that they wanted him to be a pirate like them, for he was clever at sailing a ship in all weathers, but he said he didn't want to be a pirate because killing people and stealing was no work for a good fisherman to do. Then the leader, Ben Ali, got very angry and gnashed his teeth and said they would throw my uncle into the sea if he didn't do as they said. They sent me downstairs and I heard the noise of a fight going on above. And when they let me come up again the next day, my uncle was nowhere to be seen. I asked the pirates where he was, but they wouldn't tell me. I'm very much afraid they threw him into the sea and drowned him." And the little boy began to cry again. "Well, now, wait a minute," said the doctor. Don't cry. Let's go and have tea in the dining room and we'll talk it over. Maybe your uncle is quite safe all the time. You don't know that he was drowned, do you? And that's something. Perhaps we can find him for you. First, we'll go and have tea with strawberry jam, and then we will see what can be done." All the animals had been standing around listening with great curiosity, and when they had gone into the ship's dining room and were having tea, Dab Dab came up behind the doctor's chair and whispered, "Ask the porpoises if the boy's uncle was drowned. They'll know." "All right," said the doctor, taking a second piece of bread and jam. "What are those funny clicking noises you are making with your tongue?" asked the boy. "Oh, I just said a couple of words in duck language," the doctor answered. "This is Dab Dab, one of my pets." "I didn't even know that ducks had a language," said the boy. "Are all these other animals your pets too? What is that strange-looking thing with 2 heads? "Shh," the doctor whispered. "That is Pushy-me-Pulley-you. Don't let him see we're talking about him. He gets so dreadfully embarrassed. Tell me, how did you come to be locked up in that little room?" "The pirates shut me in there when they were going off to steal things from another ship. When I heard someone chopping on the door, I didn't know who it could be. I was very glad to find it was you. Do you think you'll be able to find my uncle for me?" "Well, we are going to try very hard," said the doctor. "Now, what was your uncle like to look at?" "He had red hair," the boy answered, "very red hair, and the picture of an anchor tattooed on his arm. He was a strong man, a kind uncle, and the best sailor in South Atlantic. His fishing boat was called the Saucy Sally, a cutter-rigged sloop." "What's cutter-rigged sloop?" whispered Gub Gub, turning to Jip. "Shh, that's the kind of ship the man had," said Jip. "Keep still, can't you?" "Oh," said the pig, "is that all? I thought it was something to drink." So the doctor left the boy to play with the animals in the dining room while he went upstairs to look for passing porpoises. Soon, a whole school of porpoises came dancing and jumping through the water on their way to Brazil. When they saw the doctor leaning on the rail of his ship, they came over to see how he was getting on. And the doctor asked them if they had seen anything of a man with red hair and an anchor tattooed on his arm. "Do you mean the master of the Saucy Sally?" asked the porpoises. "Yes," said the doctor, "that's the man. Has he been drowned?" "His fishing sloop was sunk," said the porpoises, "for we saw it lying on the bottom of the sea. But there was nobody inside it. We went and looked." "His little nephew is on the ship with me here," said the doctor, "and he's terribly afraid that the pirates threw his uncle into the sea. Would you be so good as to find out for me for sure whether he has been drowned?" "Oh, he isn't drowned," said the porpoises. "If he were, we would be sure to have heard it from the deep-sea decapods. We hear all the saltwater news. The shellfish call us the ocean gossips. No, tell the little boy we are sorry we do not know where his uncle is, but we are quite certain he hasn't been drowned in the sea." So the doctor ran downstairs with the news and told the nephew. He clapped his hands with happiness. And the pushy-pulley-you took the little boy on his back and gave him a ride around the dining room table while all the other animals followed behind, beating the dish covers with spoons, pretending it was a parade. I'm going to go ahead and end right there. We'll save the 18th chapter, where I may be able to finish this book tomorrow, who knows? Or perhaps I'd like to drag it out a little bit longer, you know, let the good times roll sort of thing. Life is not meant to be rushed entirely, and this is why I love the concept of reading a couple of chapters a day. It is only when I began to video record myself reading these books that I am reading every day. Prior to doing these videos, I carried these books around in my bag every day from the barndominium to behind Barnway with good intentions of reading a chapter a day, and yet there is great purpose in all that I do as the Good Shepherd, and I'm grateful that I've learned how to read every day by simply holding myself accountable by videoing. And again, for me, the Good Shepherd Natalie, and myself Natalie, it has nothing to do with how many followers or likes I have on anything that I post on my social media. It's more so about the ability to share my life in any which ways that social media allows us to. What do I have to lose? Thank you, Lisa. I'm really enjoying this journey with you, getting your little text messages each night. And here you are, acquiring new names for your new little friends who shall be joining you in your new space and place. Tomorrow we shall resume, beginning with the 18th chapter.